Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Meghan Markle has done an interview today and it has been headlined as her discussing the toxicity that she and Harry have faced since stepping down as senior royals. Now, my interpretation of this interview is simply that she and Harry are inadvertently or indirectly moaning about people not liking them. I understand that Meghan and Harry have faced a hell of a lot of harsh criticism. They have a lot of people who do not like them. But I also understand that they have done things, and I think that this is what Meghan and Harry simply are failing to realise. They have both done things that have ticked people off. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry did not have issues before they done their Africa interviews, moaning about how hard it is to be famous, how hard it is to be extremely wealthy. This is a couple who were on and off of private planes. Not only did they do that, but they also bashed the public regarding their eco-friendly lifestyles, telling us what we should and shouldn't be doing, how we can reduce our CO2 emissions. Meanwhile, they was racking up air miles, spouting pollution all over the globe on private planes. And when Harry was confronted regarding his use of private planes, even though we know that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are more than happy to fly with the commoners, more than happy to fly economy, and more than happy to fly commercial, he said, I have to do what I have to do to protect my family, and therefore my personal activities will not be falling into question. That has sparked, along with Meghan Markle's own family, a toxic media reporting culture on the couple. If they ever do pick up this video, which I doubt, I want them to take from this that they have to attempt to at least right the wrongs that they have done. So this is an article from the Daily Mail, and I have already watched the clip of what she said, and I can understand Meghan's frustration, but I do not feel sorry for you, Meghan. You have done so much stuff to tick people off. Not contacting your father, not contacting your sister, not contacting your brother, refusing to explain why. When she married Harry and married into the royal family, she became a product of the public. She then decided that she didn't want to become a product of the public. She didn't want to become a news headline. But that's exactly what happens when you enter into that institution. Diana had a rough time. Kate has had a rough time. Even Fergie has had a rough time. Anyone who goes into the royal institution is going to fall under scrutiny, which is difficult. I understand it's difficult, but they haven't done anything, as I said, to really relieve that pain or relieve that pressure on themselves. They've done nothing but court media attention. The spending habits. They've purchased a mansion, which allegedly they have a 7.4 million mortgage on, in light of the fact that they still owe us money for Frogmore Cottage, £2.4 million. Does she realise that the world doesn't revolve around her? The UK has fallen into a recession, and I'm sure many other countries are going to swiftly follow due to the pandemic. We are not spending as we was. We are not working the way we used to work. Everything has slowed down. People are shopping online, and that has caused a lot of major high street stores to disappear. Debenhams being one of them. Quite a few of its branches have disappeared. A favourite store of mine. These are real things. People in the real world have real issues, and she's sitting on her high horse in an £11.2 million mansion now moaning. What I find quite ironic is that Meghan and Harry thought that it would be easy to simply walk away from the UK, insult us, scream out racism, not do anything to ease the burden of racial tensions and racial issues that do exist in this country and just get on with it. And then they thought that we wouldn't say anything. They thought that the journalists and the Daily Mail and the Sun and the Mail Online would just simply take it lying down. People are not going to take it lying down. People are frustrated. People are angry. People are facing economic devastation. And people like Meghan and Harry only rub salt into very, very open wounds. I'm going to get into the article because I think I've had a rant that's gone on enough. It is titled Meghan Markle decries the toxicity that she and Prince Harry have faced in the media as she opens up about how devastating it was to return to the US amid the Black Lives Matter protests. And to be honest, from the clip that I saw, she seems to just have been talking about herself and her frustrations with not being able to get away with the royal rinse that everyone perceives it to be, whether she likes it or not. Okay, I'm going to read. The Duchess of Sussex decried salacious journalism in a new video interview today, stressing the importance of reporting done through a compassionate and empathetic lens. Meghan, you need to be compassionate and empathetic to those people who are picking up these articles. They may not have a job. They may be struggling. They've never entered a private plane. They may be homeless. They may be in a homeless shelter. They may be suffering from DV. They may be in many compromising positions that regular people experience. They may be working a job that barely covers the rent. They may be in all sorts of positions, so she has to be empathetic. I'm going to carry on. While slamming what she and Prince Harry described as the toxicity in an economy for attention, Meghan Markle, 38, was the final event for the 19th Represents 2020 virtual summit this week, sitting down for a one-on-one virtual interview with the 19th co-founder and CEO Emily Ramshaw, but the former Suits star also offered her own opinions on the state of journalism, opening up about how her personal experience in the past couple of years has changed her view on the media, noting that both she and Prince Harry believe that there is too much emphasis based on salacious details. It is another chapter in the couple's war against the media and comes days after the release of flattering, unauthorized biography of Meghan and Harry, Finding Freedom, which features a host of intimate information about the couple from an army of anonymous friends and sources. The couple insist they were not interviewed for Finding Freedom, despite an author's note contained in the back of the book appearing to acknowledge some involvement from Meghan and Harry, which one author has brushed off as a few words at engagements rather than a full interview. Particulars of voicemails Meghan sent to her father and intense conversations between Harry and William have been published in the book, which its authors say was based on interviews with more than 100 sources, including close friends of Harry and Meghan's royal aides and palace staff, past and present. Meghan discussed how much influence the media can have, and that quite a bit of that influence can come from a single person or a single place. What's so fascinating, at least from my standpoint and my personal experience in the past couple years, is the headline alone, clickbait alone makes an imprint, she said. So I believe that she's moaning about the clickbait titles that have been used on her and Harry. And I can admit, journalism is journalism. People clickbait all the time. I know the Daily Mail does it. And for it to be about you, maybe it's not such a nice thing. But do not feed people ammunition. This is the issue. And I've said this throughout my whole time reporting on this couple for the last few months. They have given people so much ammunition to fire, stepping down as they did, breaking away from the royal fold as they did, how they did so abruptly, the African documentary, as they did. They should have never done those interviews. Harry should have never shared his fractured relationship with his brother. He should have resolved that behind closed doors. We should have been none the wiser as a public as to what was going on. Those things are private, for a private forum. That would have made their lives a lot easier. Not complaining in all places about your lifestyle in Africa, a third world country. All of these things that they've done, and they want the media to go easy on them. Don't they realise that that is what the media does? They look for drama. They look for salacious issues. But with Meghan and Harry, it's not very hard. They are drama. Even this interview that she's done is completely unnecessary. People are fuming. Does she realise they've bought a mansion in Santa Barbara for £11.1 million. They still owe us £2.4 million for the renovations of Frogmore Cottage, which they are refusing to give up ownership of. They still want it in their possession for when they decide they want to visit the UK and see the Queen, etc., etc. All of these things are salacious in itself. As I say that to you, do you not find it enraging? Do you not find it very salacious? Here's a greedy couple who A, didn't want to do the work, were married for 18 months, were flying around on private planes, and have now gone to Santa Barbara, purchased an £11.1 million mansion. They don't seem to be working. It's salacious. It's drama-fueled. And if you compare that side by side with what people are experiencing, people are having to close down their businesses that they've spent years and years working on because the footfall is simply not there. We've had the pandemic. People are closing down their stores, their stationery stores, their toy stores, their news agents in some cases. They've lost their hotels. They've seen business go from 100% to 10% within a few months. They are in huge amounts of debt. They are desperately waiting for this thing to be finished. And you have someone who's racking up all of these bills without a care in the world, and they want a nice headline. That just highlights the disconnect between Meghan and Harry and the everyday person. How can they build a career and have likability if they can't relate to 95% of the population? Anyway, so she carries on to say, so if you're just trying to grab someone's attention, you're going for something salacious versus what is truthful. And I think that once we can get back to the place where what you're creating is so important, where people are just telling the truth in their reporting and telling it through a compassionate and empathetic lens, it's going to help bind people. It's going to build community in a way. I think that at the moment we're feeling much more of a disconnect in a space where it could be one more of connection. But you're saying this for yourself. What they don't realise, what Meghan and Harry don't realise, is that they have created a culture of dislike against them. There is a community of people now that forms every time they buy that extremely expensive piece of property, or she runs out and spends £1 million on an outfit. There is a community of people looking at that in disgust. You see, Kate and William are more than happy to live on the royal premises and more than happy to live in the house that was provided for them in Kensington Palace. They live in an apartment, to be exact. They're more than happy to do that. They're more than happy to be grateful. Kate is more than happy to wear something from Marks and Spencer's. She's not sitting around saying, oh, Will, I fancy buying a £12.5 million mansion in the south of France and I want to stay in Oprah Winfrey's house for 3 months just because I can. I'm just going to cash in on my royal connections. Even though I was a regular girl, I was a commoner before I met you. And I want to spend £10 million on clothes. I need to fly private. She's not doing that. So therefore, she does not have a community of dislike. She doesn't have a bunch of people that can't stand her. Anyway, this is a summary of what she said. On a positive note, if you can even call it that, loving the hair, loving the makeup. I like the orange, it goes well with her tan skin. As I said, I'm not a critic of what Meghan looks like. Apparently the tangerine top is from Hugo Boss for £149, so at least that's something that we can actually afford. Her surroundings look very posh and lavish, but they would, because she's just picked up a £1.2 million mansion with 9 bedrooms, which is going to have overhead running costs of at least, is it £600,000 plus £5 million on security. I really wish that she could get it right, but it seems as though her and Harry together don't seem to be fathoming what they're getting wrong, and that's their issue, that's not ours. I'm going to carry on a little bit more, and she dropped some information here, and she said, when you look at that and when you look at it through the lens of the power of one person's influence in the media to be able to shape an entire movement or way of thinking or an ideology or an identification, if women have their voice heard as equally, how different that would have been, she said. What struck with her about the article was the ability of influence, and if it's only coming from a patriarchal lens, how that's shaping everything that we see. I'm probably going to do a part 2 on this, because it seems as though she went on and on and on quite a bit. So I'm going to do a part 2 of exactly what was said. But here we have it again. We have the moaning victimhood narrative that is spewing from Meg C. Okay guys, I'll be back.